anytime I see a police car, my mind immediately starts doing all the checks. What are those checks, you ask? Where's my license? Where's my registration? Where's my insurance card? I always have my license, registration, and insurance card on me, right? So it's like, why do I do these checks? Well, just to make sure I know exactly where these things are so I can access them, you know, so they can't be like, oh, you possibly stole this or whatever. It's November, so it's probably like 7, 8-ish in the morning. Cop gets behind me. I maintain what I was doing because I'm like, well, maybe he's trying to get around, you know, to get past. But then he just sits behind me. So he rides behind me for a good 2 miles and then turns his lights on. So I'm like, all right, what bullshit has been wrought before? So I start slowing down. I pull over to the side of the road. So he asked me questions and I'm like, dude, my car's registered in Georgia. Here's my license, a Georgia license. Here's my registration, Georgia registration. Where are you coming from? Tell him where we're coming from. Where are you going? Tell him where we're going. Why are you in North Carolina? Because you happen to be along, like, I was like, because of geography? Like, I didn't draw the state line. Comes out back to the car and he pulls me out of the car and he was talking about like Black Lives Matter or some shit and saying like, I don't know, all this, and it's wild because it's like, what I remember most is being taken out of the car unnecessarily. Like him telling me to get out of the car. And you know, I do it for 2 reasons. The first is because an agent of the state, like, I know I don't have like much legal ground to stand on. If you're asked to get out of the car, you do it. But then also, like, I'm not trying to create a situation that could further endanger Chardonnay or James.
I mean, for real, I was asleep. That's the first thing. I mean, I was like dead asleep. And I could feel the car like slowing down, right? So I'm like, okay, I know we know we're like a major city. We on like 85, so a while we stopping. And I kind of look in like your rearview mirror and I see like the cop car lights. And first thing, can I cuss on this? Yeah, first thing in my mind, I'm like, oh shit. This is really not like the place this needs to be happening. And I'm like, is Yo gonna come back alive? Like, are they gonna shoot this nigga? Like, just based off the tone of the officer's voice, he already had this art against us. You know, he already has a chip on his shoulder already. He already had something that was obviously making him mad about whatever. So I'm like, okay, you already, this cop wants to escalate the situation to begin with.
When you're recounting your stories, I don't like it, but I know like, oh, well, he's telling me the story, so I guess everything's good, or else, yeah. But in that instance, it's like, oh, wow, okay, so he's going back into the cop car. I don't think this is a good thing. Like, yeah, anything could happen in there, and I'm not going to know what happened.
While we're sitting in the car, he asked me, so what do you do for a living? College professor. And then he scoffs. He goes, you, a college professor? He was like, it must be a clown college. And I was like, sir, I teach sociology at 2 universities. Like, you know, and he's like, well, what's sociology? It must be easy. I was like, can't be that easy if you don't know what it is. He then like made another comment about how, oh, all of you all think you're so smart now, but things haven't changed here in North Carolina. And I was like, oh. He was like, I don't think, I'm really just trying to speak as little as possible. But these are the thoughts that are rolling through my head, and I'm just like looking at this man and watching his mannerisms. And then finally he hands me some of the paper that was solely just a warning. And the warning had nothing to do with the tints. The warning was some made up bullshit about how I was driving too fast for conditions. And I was like, but I wasn't. So, yeah, we get in the car. I think I tell Chardonnay and James like all the bullshit he was talking about.
Yeah, I know that the issue was that your tints were too dark. Can't remember if he like just comes up and says it or if he said it like at some other point, but I know the issue was that your tints were too dark for the state that we were in.
Yeah, that's the gist of it that I remember, and honestly, that was probably more than I would want to remember out this situation, because just like I said, how the officer even kicked it off, I think you just really saw 3 black people riding in a car. You felt some type of way about what was going on with the whole protest around that time, and you just wanted to assert your power. You wanted to be a real dickhead about the situation. That purpose had nothing to do with public safety. So it was like it was a pointless stop. I'm just really glad that nothing happened